Missy couldn't decide what terrified her more, the darkness of the basement or her solitude. But then she spotted the source of the hissing and realized she wasn't alone. The flashlight beam shifted from the fuse box to reveal a vampire's ghostly face. It recoiled in pain, covering its features and retreating into the shadows. Its saliva dripped from its fangs, corroding the cement floor as if it were paper. Its eyes glowed a menacing red as it drew nearer. In a panic, Missy dashed across the room and scrambled up the stairs. But hands grabbed her from beneath, pulling her back into the darkness. All she could do was scream. Alex awoke with a start, his heart racing. For a moment, he believed he was still the woman he wished to be. Trembling, he reached for the vampire comic book on his bed. The cover depicted a man gazing at the full moon through swamp branches, spotting a vampire in the sky. "Man, that's the last time I read this before bed," Alex muttered, slipping back under the blanket and resting his head on the pillow. He stared at the shadow on the ceiling, trying to shake the image of the ghastly face and dripping fangs. A truck's rumble outside broke his focus. "What's that noise?" he wondered aloud. He threw off the blanket and peered through his bedroom window. A moving truck was backing into the driveway next door. "Who moves in at 2 in the morning?" he mused, noticing something being unloaded from the truck that looked like a coffin. "A coffin," he gasped. "Oh no." The house next door was eerily quiet, but soon Alex's father burst into the room. "What's going on?" he demanded. Frozen and speechless, Alex continued to stare out the window, feeling a sense of dread. His mother hurried over, wrapping her arms around him, her concern evident. "Are you okay?" she asked. Alex nodded, still looking out the window. "Mom, vampires are moving in next door," he said. His father shook his head, dismissing the notion as a product of Alex's overactive imagination. "What's wrong with you, Dean?" Mrs. Sherman scolded. "Can't you see he's had a nightmare?" The next morning, Alex threw on a pair of ripped jeans and a pink sleeveless top over his chest and corset. His father frequently teased him about his vampire obsession, more so than his crossdressing. "Breakfast is ready," Mrs. Sherman called as Alex headed downstairs. His father read the newspaper while his mother sat at the table. "Have you heard the news?" Mrs. Sherman said, sipping her coffee. "Someone bought the house next door. They have a daughter your age. New neighbors." Alex froze, realizing the moving truck and coffin weren't just a dream. His mother watched him with a curious look as he peered out the window. A 12-year-old girl with dark hair dribbled a basketball outside. She wore a red dress with white polka dots, suntan nylons, and clogs. "Vampires don't go out in daylight," he reminded himself, while his father sipped his orange juice with a knowing grin. "Why don't you make friends?" he suggested. Alex shrugged. "I suppose." Despite his reluctance, he knew vampires avoided daylight. Maybe she'd like a drink, he thought. He grabbed 2 sodas from the fridge and went outside, watching as the new girl made a basket. "Hi," Alex said. "I came to welcome you to the neighborhood and see if you need someone to show you around." The girl opened a soda. "No, thanks." Alex smiled and brushed his long hair off his shoulder. "I'm Alex, but most people call me Missy. Your family moved in pretty late last night. The moving truck woke me up." Hannah rose, she replied, shaking Alex's hand. "My dad started a night shift last night and needs to sleep today. Isn't that dress a bit fancy for summer vacation?" Alex remarked, admiring the dress. "It must be tough moving around the court in that." "What's wrong with how I dress?" "Nothing, it looks really nice on you." "You look good too," Hannah said, smiling. "I especially like your hair, Missy. I can't seem to do anything with mine." Alex felt his tension ease as they swapped beauty tips. It dawned on him that Hannah probably just imagined the movers unloading a coffin. Just then, an upstairs window in Hannah's house opened, and a voice called out. "Can you keep it down?" Mrs. Clark asked, poking her head out. "You know how your dad is when he's woken during the day." Alex shook his head. "I guess you wouldn't want to come over to my place." Maybe we could work on your hair later. Hannah needs to finish breakfast, Mrs. Clark said. She can play after she's done. Alex laughed, remembering his own breakfast waiting. His mother was probably keeping it warm. Catch you later, he said to his new friend. Maybe we can go on a bike tour of the town later. Alex crossed the lawn and entered through the kitchen door. His mother had cleared his father's plate by the time he sat down. How are our new neighbors? She asked. They seem normal enough, Alex replied. After finishing his breakfast, Alex rode over to Hannah's house and waited outside until she came to the garage with her bike. Ready? She asked, glancing nervously at her house. Where do you want to go first? Is something wrong? Alex asked quietly. Nothing, Hannah said quickly. Let's just go before we wake my father up. She climbed on her bike and started down the street. After passing Alex's house, she turned around and rode back. What are you waiting for? Why are you so worried about waking your dad? Alex asked. Your mom seemed worried too. You don't know my father, Hannah said. He can be really cranky if you wake him during the day. Alex noticed her uneasy expression. You know more than you're letting on, he said as he pedaled. Hannah turned away, and Alex asked, where should we go first? How about the arcade? Alex suggested, turning down a street toward a converted barn. The arcade's exterior glittered with lights from pinball machines and video games. He remembered when it had been dark and musty just a year ago. We're here. Huh! Alex exclaimed in surprise. He looked back, but Hannah was nowhere to be seen. Where did you go? Hannah. He turned his bike around and headed back towards her house. Why are you playing mind games? Alex asked as he reached Hannah's driveway. He spun around once and rode up to Hannah's house. When Alex arrived, the house was dark and quiet, as if Hannah's family had vanished. Hannah. He jumped off his bike and let it fall to the driveway. Are you here? Hey, he called again, running up to the screen door. He knocked on the thick oak door, which echoed with each rap. Is anyone home? Peering through a window, Alex saw the interior of the house appeared barely lived in. Alex panicked when the front door opened on its own, rushing home without a second glance. If he had looked back, he would have seen a silhouette of a man picking up his bike. Terrified, he dashed to his room and stared at Hannah's house from his window. Noticing his bike was gone and feeling uneasy as if someone was watching him, he was on edge. Missy, did you forget your bike? Mrs. Sherman called as she entered his room, ready to scold him. I've told you before not to be careless with it. I'm sorry, Mom, Alex said, realizing it wouldn't help to mention his suspicion about the new neighbors. That bike was expensive, Mrs. Sherman reminded him. I expect you to get it back. Okay, Alex replied. Returning to the window, Alex saw Hannah riding up her driveway. Where did she come from? Hannah passed her mother and headed outside. I'm going to get my bike back now, Mom. Hey. Alex called, rushing across the driveway. Where did you go? He noticed Hannah's eyes narrow as she circled and then went back home. Mrs. Clark glared from the front porch, and Mr. Clark and the bike were nowhere in sight. Have you seen my bike? Alex asked Hannah. Dad saw your bike and took it inside, Hannah replied, as Alex clasped his hands in a hopeful gesture. He was angry that you woke him up. Hannah, please, Alex said. Just let me get my bike. My parents will be upset if I don't bring it back. You don't know how dangerous that could be, Hannah said with a mysterious look. If you want it back so badly, I'll get it for you. Alex stood on the porch as Hannah went inside. Her mother gave her a worried glance while plucking a rose from the garden. Alex wondered if the upstairs had any furniture, remembering how bare the downstairs was. Every curtain was drawn, blocking out the sunlight. Alex squinted and smiled as Hannah walked his bike outside and down the porch steps. Thanks, Alex said, mounting his bike. He saw his mother approaching with a basket of fruit. I want to say your family is welcome over any time. Riding home, Alex thought he might have made a mistake. Despite Hannah and her mother being out in daylight, The coffin and Mr. Clark's strange behavior lingered in his mind. After putting his bike away, Alex decided to visit the arcade alone. The old barn was brightly lit as always, and he wondered if the light had something to do with Hannah's return. The manager, who stood by the door with a coin changer on his belt, greeted him. "Missy," the manager said warmly. "I expected you to come by earlier." "My new neighbor changed her mind," Alex replied, exchanging a $5 bill for quarters. "Has Hannah Clark come by?" "Clark family?" The manager thought for a moment. "Sorry, I don't recall that name. I'd have noticed if she came by." "Thanks," Alex said with a smile, heading towards a martial arts video game. "Maybe I can convince her to come by later." Alex quickly spent the $5 in quarters, losing every game as his thoughts kept drifting back to the new neighbors and their vampire-like behavior. On his way back to Hannah's house, Alex crossed the front lawn of the Parkers. Mrs. Parker was shaking a broom at her. "Get off my property," she shouted. Inside, he heard Hannah and Mr. Clark arguing. Mr. Clark's anger was palpable. Hannah stormed out and sat on the porch. "It's all right, Hannah," Mrs. Clark said soothingly. "He's just upset that your new friend woke him up. He'll get over it. Just make sure to keep your friend away from the house, especially at night." Alex rode up with a smile as Hannah mounted her bike. The two headed to the arcade together. Alex wasn't sure if Hannah was the human daughter of a vampire, but he figured he'd find out eventually. With an open invitation to visit, maybe he'd learn more tonight.